Hi there, I'm Thea Wood, Austin's signature stylist. And today we're at Kiss and Makeup with Karen Powanda. How are you today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. As always, it's a pleasure to have you in our studio. Welcome back.
Thank you.
And today we're going to talk about makeup for hot and humid environments like Austin and the surrounding area.
Tis the time. Let's get to it.
Okay. So one of the things that we want to talk about first of all, and a good point to make, is you want to stop layering. Layering is something that, when we say that, we're talking about using a foundation and then using a concealer and then using a powder over that. And what it'll do is make your application heavier, as well it'll also make it slip and melt away.
Oh, I've been there, done that.
Right. So one of the things that we can do is to use, instead of maybe a primer, is to use an anti-shine gel. And here at Kiss and Makeup, we usually use Eve Pearl Cosmetics Anti-Shine. And you can go to evepearlcosmetics.com and look that up. But it's a very, very potent product. So you don't want to use a lot of it. You use it sparingly. And let's say you have combination skin like Thea, then you're going to want to use it exactly where you have the oiliness. If you happen to be very oily, then you're going to want to use it all over. But remember to use a light application.
Okay.
Because too much, it'll give a really matte look, and it'll dull your skin, which makes it look unhealthy, and it's also aging.
Yes.
So we don't want to do that. So I'm going to take a little bit of this, and this is the Eve Pearl Anti-Shine. Like I say, we use it for HD TV. We use it with some of the anchors and reporters that we use in town and use it on them, and it works great. Because in HD TV, for instance, you definitely don't want to have a lot of shine.
It definitely has a different feel than primer.
How does it feel to you, Thea?
It feels a little more like it's gripping, like it's gripping my skin versus a primer, which is more of a silky kind of a feel.
And that's because it's really already starting to absorb the oil. Now, if Thea had oily skin, I'd want to put it all over, but again, it's very potent. You want to use it sparingly. Then the other thing we can do, and it really depends on your skin type, is if you have a drier skin, you may want to use a tinted moisturizer. Tinted moisturizers are great because they're lightweight. Most of them, for most cosmetic companies, are going to have an SPF, and they're going to have good nutrients in them. For instance, we use Senna Barely Base, and I like Senna because it's an oil-free mineral base. It has an SPF of 20. It's lightweight, and it has things like vitamin A, E, C. It has ginkgo. It has ginseng in it. It's just like a goodie basket for your skin. So we're going to use that. Now, one point I want to make today is when we said to try to stop layering, I'm actually saying do as I say, don't do as I do, because Thea is my model. I want to show you how to use powders and a tinted moisturizer. So there honestly is going to be a little bit of layering going on today, but I want to be able to show you both versions of how to work with that.
Great.
So I'm going to use a little bit of this, and it doesn't take a lot. Different makeup artists and people have different tools that they like to use. And I think it's whatever you feel most comfortable with. I like to work with sponges when I'm putting on foundation. However, depending on the person, depending on the circumstances, I will use fingers, I'll use brushes. It really just depends. And one of the most important things about foundation, why we use it, is to neutralize the pigmentation in our skin. So when you put on makeup, you can have the best application in the world, but if any redness or any signs of pigmentation are coming through, then you have a tendency to look at the pigmentation and not the great application of eyeshadow or blush or bronzers or lips. It's kind of like when you walk in a room and you notice that the room is beautiful, but there's one picture that's obscure. You notice that. So if you've got this picture that's running askew on the wall, your vision goes to that more, and it's kind of the same with makeup. Does this feel light to you, Thea?
It does.
Okay. Again, this is super lightweight. It's a good way for people that have drier skin or maybe combination skin that happens to be on the drier side of things to go. Now, the other thing you can do is to use a concealer. If you happen to be fortunate enough to have really great skin and all you need is a dab of concealer, by all means go for it. And I want to show you how to do that.
I'm not one of those people. I need concealer.
Well, I think most people need it. You have to be very, very fortunate. And when I think of that, I think usually of teenagers, you know, that have a great peachy, rosy, luminous skin.
That's right.
And in this case, I'm going to use a brush. So you can see I do change tools. But I'm using concealer. And by the way, the reason I always put on my hands is because that's the appropriate application instead of putting it directly from the applicator on to the client's skin. But I'm going to hit a little bit wherever I see pigmentation. So, you know, if you have, you know, that wonderful, perfect skin, what you may want to do is just consider really looking to see if you have pigmentation under your eyes, on top of your eyes, and that also happens more in Austin, Texas, because a lot of us have allergies here. So it's not unusual to see darkness or pigmentation above and below the eyes. And again, please remember that I'm kind of showing layering, even though I'm saying not to do it, because I want every type of skin type to see what you can do. So this would be an application where I'm just going strictly for someone that has good skin, and we're just going to highlight or pick the places that we see a little bit of pigmentation. It's also going to be around the nose. A lot of us have tendency, because of allergies, because of the great spicy foods that we have in Austin, to get a little redness on our cheeks and around the nose area, and even a little bit in the chin area. And this is a real lightweight concealer. I think it's important when you're using product, think of tinted moisturizer, think of lightweight powders, think of lightweight concealers, instead of something heavier and denser. You definitely don't want anything oil-based. So again, I'm just looking at Thea's face, and I'm kind of picking some places that I think we need to look at pigmentation, kind of neutralize it a little bit. And I'm going to go underneath her eyes. Go ahead and look up for me. A lot of us have a tendency to pull a little red under our eyes. Mm-hmm. And then I'm going to go on top. Just
talk about combination problems. Red under the eyes, bags.
You know what? We're all
wrinkles.
Dealing with it.
And then the heat on. Well, Karen, thank you so much for taking the time to do this today, and I hope everybody got as much out of this as I did. I'm running out and getting my supplies today. And we'll see you all next time. Thank you so much again. My name is Thea Wood, Signature Stylist.